Dear Diary, today I got a phone call from Sergio. You remember him, the guy we met in Italy? I remember walking the streets of Rome that one wonderful balmy evening when we grabbed hands. Hey, hey, you didn't tell me you were shooting now. Turn that off. Not now. Hey gang, it's your girl Cynthia from Skinnythick. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about the value of journaling. Journaling doesn't have to be anything that's formal. You don't have to go get a fancy book. I've got 3 samples here. This one I just got at the local dollar store. This one came in a pack with gifts that I got to give out. You buy one, you get one free, so I kept one for myself. This one was a gift to me from one of my sorority sisters. Thanks, Amy. Anyway, a journal can be used for many purposes, and I really recommend them as you think about your health and your fitness. There are a lot of reasons why a journal is important, and I'm going to talk to you about them right now. What I used this journal for was to record my food intake. I would record it every day, and I would keep track of my calories. Remember, I put myself on a 1,200 calorie a day program through the Skinnythick project. And I wanted to keep track of what I would eat, and I wanted to keep track of the caloric intake of what I ate. The reason why it's important, and people think that keeping a journal is just redundant or unnecessary, is because I could get a sense of what things were in terms of caloric intake. When I first started, I didn't know how much a cup of oatmeal would be in terms of calories and proteins, carbohydrates. I was trying to track that. But by the time I got through the calendar and the diary over several months, I began to know exactly what it was. So it became second nature. I would say, oh, oatmeal, 2 packets of oatmeal is 320 calories. So I would know how much that was, and I know in my mind how much I was going to eat, so that if I were to go out to a restaurant, I could have a sense of an idea of what the caloric intake would be for a particular meal, and I would know how to order. If I were to order salmon, I'd ask for them to steam it for me or to grill it with little to no fat. I'd ask for my vegetables to be steamed. I would get a sense of what the caloric intake was. So writing it down helps you to know exactly what you're taking in terms of caloric intake on a daily basis, and it helps you to stay in line with your targets for the week. Remember, we talked about earlier that if you're able to burn more calories than you take in, you'll lose weight. Well, knowing what your calorie intake is half of the battle. The other part is to keep track of your calorie usage and burning and what things you do to burn calories. So I would recommend keeping the journal because of the discipline that it provides you to have to keep track of what you're eating and to be able to identify what calories are. A chicken leg is worth this many calories. An egg may be worth 80 calories. An egg white, 15 calories. So if you make yourself an omelet that has an egg and 2 egg whites in it, you're talking about 80 plus 30, so that's 110. So that's 110 calories for that omelet there to start with. You may add some salsa to it or cheese, or one of my favorites, I put a little cheese and a quarter of an avocado in it. And I'll put that recipe up for you. It's a wonderful omelet. In fact, my mother just asked me to make one for her a little bit ago. So that's one reason for it. The other reason I found that's really helpful for journaling food is to learn to forgive yourself. So for example, one day I ate a lot of food and I thought I had really just sabotaged myself in terms of caloric intake. But what I found out was when I sat down and journaled it out, I really hadn't gotten that far off of track. Instead of my average of 1,200 calories, that day I took in 1,400 calories. So it wasn't as bad as I thought. And sometimes what we find is that when we think that we have gone off course in our caloric intake, it gives us permission to just continue to eat. That either later that day or the next day we'll say, well, I screwed up, it's Wednesday, I'm just going to go ahead and screw up for the rest of the week and I'll start back again fresh on Monday. But if you get in and you see that you really didn't do as badly as you thought, it gives you incentive to know, hey, I can make this up. This 200 extra calories that I took in isn't equivalent to a pound. We know a pound is 3,500 calories, so it's not going to add a pound to your weight. And if you stay on track for the rest of the week and you are thinking you're going to get a pound, you might get, 3/4 of a pound or even 7/8 of a pound or even closer to the pound than you thought you would in your weight. So another value of journaling is to be able to know how far over you go if you're going to. It also, I think, is another easy way to come up with menu ideas. If you're kind of bored and you can't think of what you want to eat that week, I like to go back and think, oh, I had a chicken cacciatore that I made that week. And that chicken cacciatore was chicken with some stewed tomatoes and some peppers and onions and seasonings. And that was a very low calorie dish, and I served it with a half a cup of rice. And that gave me 360 calories. And that gives me inspiration for meals to do that week. So that's another good reason to journal. So those are some very good reasons to journal. Another tool that journals, and I didn't mention at the beginning, is your phone. Many phones have programs that allow you to calorie count right on the phone. And once you start to load in certain meals that you have, it will bring those up. They'll be in your saves area. And so if you're a person like me, I either eat oatmeal for breakfast or I eat yogurt for breakfast. It'll pop up very easily for me on that calorie day, and I can just plug it in on my phone and keep going. And so that's another good reason for journaling for your meals. There's another kind of journal I want to talk to you about in addition to food, and that's what I call your workout journal. Again, you can get a little book like this, which is something I use, or you can put it on your phone. Many phones have track systems that allow you to track your steps per day. It allows you to plug in if you run or if you do other kinds of exercise so that you can keep track of it. The reason why I think it's important to track on your physical exercise is that it lets you see how far you've come. I went back and looked at this journal. This is the first one I started with when I first started working out. And the first day that I worked out on a treadmill only, I was only able to walk 10 minutes on the treadmill with 0 incline, meaning it was just a flat incline, and my heart rate was an average of 130 beats per minute, which is pretty low. You want to get your heart rate up when you're exercising. So that was how I started. But as I continued on in this journal, by the end of it, I was doing the treadmill for 2 miles a day, which was a target, so I tried to monitor the minutes. In that case, it was this was 40 minutes, but I also did it at an incline of 3.5, which is a higher incline, which means I'm working out harder, and my heart rate was up to 200 beats per minute. So I was exercising better. It's not an Olympic athlete, but for me, and someone who is not an athlete or someone who's trying to get healthier, that to me showed momentum. I went from 10 minutes on a treadmill being flat to 40 minutes at an incline on the treadmill. And then I also added the exercise bike, the kind that does the legs and the arms when you get up on it and you can step up and go back and forth. So in addition to that, I went then for 30 minutes on that machine and had an average, I don't know what this is average heart rate of 190 in this case. So that was what I did there. So you see, I went from just 10 minutes on a treadmill to this workout, which was over an hour at the gym using 2 different machines. That kind of shows you progress. To remember when you are at the gym and you're so tired, remember how you started, and you can see just how far you've come. So I really recommend that you get yourself a journal or you use your cell phone to be able to record this information. You'll be surprised how far you've come. Now, this is your girl Cynthia. Give me a thumbs up for a like, and please do subscribe. Have a great day.